Trading will take you only as far as you want to take it. Hi, so we're gonna get into what a limit order is, what's a market order, and how to like fit everything together to make it make sense for you, because trading goes well beyond just what is portrayed in social media. Just because you know how to draw the lines on and you know how to read the charts essentially, or have a basic understanding, there's a lot more things that you should or likely educate yourself on. So these are some things that I wish someone laid out really clearly to me before I just dove in. So we're gonna start first with understanding the differences between limit and market orders and why you should even care. So a limit order is essentially like when a stock is at a certain price. So say you're trading Tesla and it is at like $200.12. A limit order means that you only want your trade to be executed if it can fill your order at $200.12. If you're unable to get that price for that stock, your order will not go through. You will not have bought into the stock. So then you will just have a pending order waiting for the price to get to that number again. So that results in a couple of different things for beginner traders. So there's some good things to this and some bad things. Good things to this would be if you are someone that is scalping and you need to get in at a very specific level. Limit orders are your best friends, because you don't want to have what's called slippage. So slippage occurs when you're not utilizing the limit order, and that's where the market order comes into play. Market order means that if Tesla is at $200.12, and if you just hit the buy button with the market order on, it could get you in at $212 if it moves that quickly. So you just had a ton of slippage and you bought in way higher than what you wanted to. Therefore, your profit and loss, or your risk to reward, is totally obscured, and now your analysis on what you were projecting is no longer relevant. So that's like the differentiating factors in limit order and market order. One is only if price is this amount, and then one is just get me in wherever, whenever. I just want in. I just want to be in on the action, so I don't care. And that's the difference. And so what ultimately ends up happening, depending on the time frames that you trade, or again, the style of trading that you do, and the size, like the position sizing for your trading, that all dictates how you are going to emotionally manage this trade whenever you do get into it. So for me, I just do market orders because the way that I trade, I have enough wiggle room, or I hold long enough to be able to allow for some slippage, and that is just the way that I trade. When I was trading futures, I still did market orders, but I found that it moved way too quickly, and the slippage that occurred when I did do that, it resulted in a lot of like emotions that I was not used to managing. So there's that. So just understanding that little nuance is really important. And then also depending on the market that you're trading. So if you're trading regular stocks or if you're trading futures, understanding that stocks have a period where they are closed and you cannot execute an order. So like say you are a beginner using a very user-friendly platform like Robinhood or Webull, and you don't quite understand the parameters of executing a trade. And say it's like the weekend on a Saturday and you're with your friend and you're like, I want to buy some stock of Apple. And you go ahead and you click buy on Robinhood and swipe up. It will not get you in that day because it's closed. It will get you in whatever price opens at on Monday on market open. So therefore you're gonna have a lot of slippage again, and you're gonna be like, I don't remember wanting to buy in at this price, and that's not what it was on Saturday. And so that happens to a lot of beginners. They execute a trade maybe on Friday thinking like, oh, I'll just watch it, and then it totally tanks over the weekend, and then on Monday they're like, oh my God. Or the inverse happens, market closes on Friday, you look at it on Saturday and you're like, oh, this looks pretty good, I'm gonna buy, not understanding that it will not execute your order on that time. Now for futures, it doesn't have the same market open and close. And the reason why this is because futures is a 24/5, yeah, it closes for 1 hour. So it closes for 1 hour. So there still can be a gap up and gap down during that 1 hour, but usually it's like a very continuous process in price action, because futures was created to hedge fluctuating prices on on commodities. So when, like, for example, on certain commodities, if the price for the farmer to produce that product, if it starts fluctuating and they want to make sure that they can capture their losses, they hedge against it, so they participate in the futures market. That's essentially why futures was created way back when it was created. And I only know this because I read this book. It's called Back to the Futures. It's actually a really cute book and I recommend reading it. It won't help you with trading, but it is actually some really good historical information regarding the market. And it tells like a good, deep personal story of this guy who his dad traded or was in like agriculture or whatever. And I am getting so off tangent, but anyway, read it, it's good. And so those are the two differentiating things between like the stock market and futures: different open and close, different regulations, different price action. So taking those two things into conjunction will also dictate what kind of order you would like to place. And again, this encompasses who you are, your journaling style, what you want, and like more nuanced of like how does it fit into your life. Because I can give you all of the skill set, the top-down analysis and everything to essentially try and make this work for you, but you have to be so in tune with yourself and then understand how certain things either trigger you or don't trigger you, or essentially just like how much time you have to be able to look at the market. And so the next thing is the paper trading. So when you're on tradingview.com, when you type in like www.tradingview.com, you are going to log into your account, free account or paid account, whatever you want. Paper trading. You don't need to link any bank account to this at this point. If you are a beginner and learning, I strongly urge you not to link your bank account. You can paper trade for as long as you need to until you feel like you understand what style of trading suits you. And that is the number one thing that I strongly, or I guess it's not a regret, but not paper trading forced me to learn lessons a lot faster and at the cost of my own money. So paper trading, it's like, think of it as monopoly money. You're essentially given $100,000 of monopoly dollars, and you can practice your top-down analysis, your entries and your exits. You can make theories or determinations, enter orders, and watch the trade play out with fake money, never risking your own money. And I tell you to do this because the way that educators represent trading, it's a little deceptive. And this is actually a really profoundly, I think, impactful lesson that I learned this year alone in my own trading through my own journey personally. So the deception lies in thinking that trading can be consistent, which there is a level of consistency to trading, yes, absolutely. But I think, and everyone's journey is absolutely entirely different. This is just like my take, and I say this because I want to protect you. When I traded regular stocks, I found so much consistency. I was like, oh my gosh, I can rely on this. This is I averaged the same monthly every single month for like the last year. Like, this is freaking solid. Then when I switched into futures, that was so tumultuous and like fluctuating up and down for me. And I really didn't enjoy my trading journey anymore. And you can go back and watch some of those videos and you can see like I started with $1,000 account challenge, and that was hard for me. Although I maintained, I maintained my strategy, I was pretty emotional and I gave back 50% of my account. And ultimately, I do still dabble in futures, but not to the extent that I was during filming those YouTubes. I have found that I need the zen that regular stocks bring me right now for this time in my life. So going back to the deceptive part, trading is consistent, but sometimes the market enters periods of high volatility. It is not your ideal market conditions for your strategy that you are trading. And ultimately, you have to be able to recognize that very quickly to protect your capital. So for me, I went from trading stocks and then into futures at the most inopportune time. We had the Strait of Hormuz was closed. There was a lot of news going out. There was so much uncertainty and volatility. Like, you can just see it in the price action. And ultimately, I was not able or not equipped to recognize this massive shift in price action in the rate that I should have for what I would like to say that I'm an established trader. I definitely fell short. I made mistakes. And now I'm like, oh wow, like my whole realization and perspective of trading has changed because I went through something that I hadn't gone through before. So this is what I mean by it's deceptive. Trading can be consistent because it's never left my life in the last 4.5, 5 years, or however long it's been. However, the money that I've generated from trading has not been inherently consistent. I have had periods of big drawdown. I have had periods of loss after loss after loss. I have also had periods where I was really consistent, seeing great money and averaging the same every single month. And then that just went to complete and utter dog shit for 4 months. And that's a huge amount of time to have your trading go to crap for. And so I only do this video to talk about it because we're talking about the nuance in trading and how to make it all work. Now that we've gotten to I believe this is day 7 or 8 of putting it all together. We've gone over the top-down analysis, the tools that you need, what a trend line break is, what a trend line bounce is. Now we've gone over the difference between a market order, a limit order, and then your paper trading. The next thing that we're gonna get into in the next video is setting your stop loss and your take profit. So if you wanna follow along and learn more about trading, I am happy to help you. Drop a comment. I'm here to just be as transparent as I possibly can be and try and make the videos that I wish that I had when I was learning trading, because let's be real, trading is not something that is straightforward, and there's no actual blueprint for what will work. It's like a standardized testing, essentially, basically like what you get in school when you're trying to graduate 8th grade and see how far along you are and if you can go be with the other kids, basically. It's where is your level of understanding in this specific subject, and then what you do with that, whether you educate yourself further or if you just continually apply the same standard, you will always stay at that mediocre point or basic poor performance, whatever you want to be. Trading will take you only as far as you want to take it. So just remember that.